Just when you thought it couldn't get worse for the CW, that finally they've been moved over, taken over by Nexstar, and I figured the Zaslav Bloodbath is over. And that's what it is, it's over. But the Nexstar Bloodbath now begins. But before we get into this, I just want to thank those of you who have subscribed, who have liked, share. We're just about 600. If we haven't, by the time this video airs, hopefully we'll be at 600. Last I looked, we're getting in the 10 range on there of 600 subscribers on YouTube. Once again, thank you very much, because it's you, the viewers, that is important to us. We want to be here for you, creating all the programs we do on CutieCast TV. That's Man with a Show, Pre-Flight, classic episodes of Rabbit T. Rabbit, and it goes for all of our social media platforms on there, because we are starting to move up a bit. And I thank you those for watching, commenting, everything. Thank you again. So we've left the Bloodbath over at the Zaslavs, over at Warner Discovery. CW is now entrenched within the Nexstar group, and a lot of changes are made, and a lot of changes are coming. One thing in sad news, and I didn't expect this, looks like I think it's probably going to be the complete end of the Arrowverse at the CW. There's only technically, there's only one left as far as the series. Flash ends next year. Superman and Lois so far is still on target for next season, but STARGIRL has been canceled. This is the last season. It's not going to go any further. When they air the last episode in December, that is it for STARGIRL. It's a shame. I mean, this season hasn't been that good. The ratings have been about what CW normally does. A little higher than other shows, but about average for what the CW normally gets. I mean, understand this. The CW has not been profitable since day one. Understand it. They had a lot of great shows. They had a lot of great ratings on there. Flash and Arrow and the Supernatural and a bunch of other shows. But as soon as the politics kicked in and all that, it just really killed the network. I mean, they could have had a chance on that. You got to remember, this is part of several networks, independent stations, that literally were making some great shows out of here. I mean, you had stuff as Hercules, Xena, Babylon 5, and all that. There were changes over the network. You had the WB, which had all the great comedies and stuff like that. UPN 9. There's been so much on there. Now we've gotten to the CW, and this is where it begins to fall. And the thing about it is, this is not the only thing that's happening. We have change of management there as far as CDOs, and also a cut on programming. And we're talking about budgets. Supposedly they're cutting it in half. Instead of spending $2 million an episode, they're going to be spending $1 million an episode. What can they get for about $1 million an episode? You could probably work something out good, better than spending $1 billion on the Rings of Power, which and I say it has nothing to do with Lord of the Rings, other than it has dwarfs and all this that's in the J.R.R. Tolkien lore, but it's not Lord of the Rings, and people are just starting to wake up and understand that, and that's why Amazon is not doing well with it. I mean, this could break Amazon as a company, and the company is beginning to drop in shares. I mean, they're being dropped drastically in shares on there, and it continues because of situations like this and many other things that are going on in the Amazon company. But off a deadline, we got the CW is hit with dozens of layoffs as Nexstar plots more frugal course for its broadcast network. Less than a month after Nexstar Media closed the deal to take 75% ownership of the CW, the broadcast network has been hit with a dozen layoffs. The exact number of departures is still becoming clear, but one person with knowledge, the situation pegged it to about 30 to 40. While Nexstar is known for local stations, the company also operates News Nation, which it's overhauled and reformatted from its prior incarnation, WG America, after acquiring Tribune Media in 2019. The lower cost profile of news programming, a distinct different neighborhood from the scripted fare that was WGNA's speciality, was a driven motivation of the makeover. In recent weeks, the senior leadership team that guided the CW when it was 50-50 joint venture of Warner and CBS, or more recently Warner Brothers Discovery and Paramount Global, already had departed. The exit of Paul Hewitt, longtime head of corporate communications, was announced earlier this week. Dennis Miller, a former venture capitalist and media executive, has been installed as the new head of the CW. Even more than most M&A deals, it is Nexstar's mission to aggressively slash operating costs in order to make the deal make sense. Strategically, it fits Nexstar's nation-leading portfolio of local TV stations, which includes the largest number of CW affiliates controlled by one single owner. But the Texas-based company hasn't waxed nostalgia for the network free-spending Gossip Girl's heyday, instead telegraphing to Wall Street and its investors that it intends to move forward with more streamlined operations focused on unscripted programming, news, and sports. In exchange for 75% of the ownership of the CW, Nexstar paid no upfront considerations, instead agreeing to take on the network's debt. During a conference call with analysts in August prior to the deal close, executives projected that the CW would turn a profit by 2025, which basically Paramount and WB are remaining stakeholders with about 12.5 apiece. CFO Lee Ann Gila said that it's not typical for a full distributed broadcast or cable network to be in the red. In fact, citing SNL's Kagan data, she asserted that no other broadcast network operates at an ongoing loss. A significant reduction in expenses will be the centerpiece of the new owner's turnaround. You know us, Gila told analysts on a call. We are profit and cash flow focused and expect this asset to achieve profitability. Nexstar is slated to report its third quarter earnings in a couple of days. And the thing about it is, with all these cutbacks, here's the situation. Even though we've had new shows as Walker Independence and The Winchester, because of the cutbacks, there have been no decision on a new season for season 2 for these newer shows. They're doing average for CW, a little bit higher than normal, but they're starting to, as they say, do the drastic drop as other shows have done. And the thing about it is, Nexstar is looking to do unscripted. This is the same thing Warner Brothers wants to do with TBS and TNT. Not surprised on it. You have to remember one thing about the CW network. What is the average viewer? What's the average age of the viewer on the CW network? It's average 50, in the 50-55 range. Youths do the target demo 18 to 49. They're not really watching it. Some are, but not to the point where the numbers are there. It's more toward a older crowd, and we're not talking prime time. We're talking because the channel is a 24-hour channel. Remember that. There are other shows like they have shows that are similar to Judge Judy, Maury Povich, and stuff. All those other type of shows and game shows and stuff. Even in the evening, you got Penn and Teller. On some days, you got Whose Line Is It Anyway, which is probably better. They're better shows than the average scripted shows on the network. People are watching those better, even though the ratings on those on primetime are not as good, but they're watching them better than the average show that's been on there. You've seen the failures on there, left and right. All the cancellations on there. 4400 and many others, and most of the decisions on there. What's going to happen now? You got Babylon 5. We had a video for that. J. Michael Straczynski is begging the fans to get on Nexstar to get this project done. It started to begin with. It's been shelved. I don't expect it. Maybe Warner might pick it up, for HBO Max, but it has to be done right. Don't go for a reboot. Create a new part of the universe for the Babylon 5 fans. Create another storyline. There are many stories you can tell from the Babylon 5 universe on there. Go for it on there. I know others did not work well. It's trial and error to the situation. What about the Powerpuff Girls show and many others that on there? I don't expect those to go any more forward as well. We're looking at a network that's just that's basically in rebuild mode, and they're looking at unscripted and sports. Because right now, sport, believe it or not, as much as the problems there are in the NFL and the MLB, they're scoring better in the ratings today. The World Series is scoring better. The NFL has been scoring better as far as the ratings than the average top line show on the networks. Think about that for a minute. I have my issues with Nexstar. Nexstar, the way they took, obviously their business and stuff like that. But after that fiasco over a week ago, most of you don't know, we were going to have a show on that, but they resolved it, so there was no need to talk about that. Verizon and DirecTV had their contracts up on certain channels. In the case of Verizon, it was like News Nation, the CW channel, and a couple of other channels. Nexstar wanted like 64%. They wanted a 64% increase. It's like, holy shit. That's like unheard of. And we lost our PIX here in New York, which would be the CW on there. And people were like freaking out. But here's the thing that they don't tell you is that you can receive that channel on a good pair of rabbit ears. You hook it up, you have a good range on it. Where the antenna is the broadcast channel antenna is over by the Empire State Building. Pointing in that direction, you're going to get it, no matter where you are in New York City. The signal is pretty strong. And, people, I was talking to people on Facebook. The Facebook chat room was talking about this. And it was just like, just do this. Just do this. You'll be okay. You'll have your chat. But a couple of days later, they negotiated and Verizon returned Channel 11 back into service. But people were trying to blame Verizon, but it wasn't Verizon, it was Nexstar. They were asking for too much money. Whatever they negotiated, it's been kept quiet. DirecTV, I haven't heard anything about that as of yet. But we're going to monitor this and see what happens, see how many more shows get canceled, and expect more cancellations. And, if you're going to get, people are going to get pissed off on it, well, see, this is what happens when a network is sold and they're going to clear their books. This is another bloodbath. This is the Nexstar bloodbath now. And their employees going to be fired as well. People nobody likes to get fired. Nobody likes to get, but this is what happens. So let me know how you feel in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, share, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you for tuning in, and bye-bye now.